right now, silver, gold, platinum, palladium, and uranium, those are the trades you want to be in. Look, big money is moving out of the financialized assets and they're moving into the hard assets. The only way you can make more profit now or higher margins is that you're going to have to do it with less rent and less people.
And good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for spending your valuable time. One of our favorites and your favorite on the channel here, Bok Kudla, coming at us from Trade Genius. Also, remember, tradewith2030.com. This month, we wanted to talk about, as this election spins through, lower oil prices are possible with higher Bitcoin prices, higher commodities prices, and it looks like it's going to be, quote, chase the market through the end of the year. I wanted to talk about BRICS for a moment because they just finished up their meetings. And is this really something that will rival the SWIFT system? And is it anything to look at in terms of this year or next year of an upset of balance in the world's currencies? And coming up, it's going to be a busy time of the year for almost everybody with the holidays. So you got the elections coming in. It's just going to be a whirlwind couple of months. So we're going to try to, as again, steer around the crystal ball and see what we can find. Thanks for joining, everybody, and welcome, Bob.
Hey, Dave, thanks for having me. In fact, I'm in Europe right now, so I'm in the shadow of the European Parliament here in Strasbourg, France.
This would be a good one here because what we're seeing on the news in terms of all these images of how France has fallen from its once great former state to sort of being, I wouldn't say dangerous to walk on the street, but the streets just aren't as opulent and clean as they used to be. So I don't know if you're seeing that, or is it just narratives that we're seeing? Is it propaganda, or really what's on the ground over there compared to what France used to be to where it is now? Are we propagandized, or is this something that's truly happening?
Well, I think it depends where you are. We actually talked to a lady on the tram today. She said there's a big difference between being inside Paris and being outside Paris. She's a French person, but not French born. She said that Paris is kind of different than the rest of France. And then we were in Zurich before, so Zurich was clean. And we were over in Germany this morning because Strasbourg's right on the river, and the lady actually was on the tram with us over and back. She did some business, we did some business, and we were laughing because she goes, a lot of French people live in Germany because it's cleaner. I would say that France is dirtier than Germany, much dirtier than Zurich, a little bit more chaotic. But they say Paris is kind of dirty. It's fun but dirty. Next time we talk, I'll be back from Paris, but I'm told it's not that great.
Okay, so we're hearing it here from the horse's mouth. Like myself, traveling in Europe, we were in northern Italy, and we didn't see all of the problems that they have around Rome and places further south, some of the islands and whatnot. We didn't see any of that in northern Italy. So when I was hearing about this in the news, kind of preparing myself for seeing what the news was showing us, when we got all the way like Verona and Palma Nova and Venice and these areas up north, nothing. It was as if it had been walking out of a 1950s movie. Still beautiful, still amazing. Every corner was a photo opportunity, and it was not dangerous. And you could definitely walk around at night, and it was really just an incredible, fun trip. So, yeah, thanks for filling us in on that, because as the world spins, the narratives keep moving along, and they want you to bend your mind. So, where does it get bent with the economy? And how are they going to make people think about the economy through the rest of the year and into next year after the election is the real thing to think about.
Well, I mean, we've the same thing. We were walking around at night in Zurich, no issues at all. Nobody bothered us one bit. Everybody kept to themselves. We walked around at night here in Strasbourg in the evening. No, people are really friendly. I knew Germany was relatively friendly because we've been there and we can speak the language somewhat. Zurich was sold out, by the way. All the hotels are full, restaurants are full. Strasbourg, it looks like everybody is on vacation here from around the world. A lot of Chinese tourists are here. So I would say, at least the service part of the economy is doing well. On the manufacturing side, Germany's struggling because it's too expensive to manufacture. A lot of that stuff moving to the U.S. France is nuclear, so they don't have the same issues, but Germany definitely is struggling that way. But in the U.S., inflation is taking its toll, as you know, and we get the WARN reports all the time, and you're starting to see a lot of the manufacturers are starting to cut. But the confession season starts, Dave, in 3 months. When they go into their fourth quarter, first quarter earnings reports, you're going to see a lot of layoff notices so that they can clean up their books, or they can do the confession and saying we're going to do some write-offs so that they can right-size their company and their EPS expectations into 2025. So I think we're slowly slipping into a recession in the US, but it depends where you are, right? Some places I would say are in deep recession already, and some places aren't seeing it at all.
Yeah, now you mentioned if Trump were to win, that he would change monetary policy and possibly edge us towards some sort of recession on purpose to rebalance everything. Could you explain that in a little bit more detail? Because I'm really interested in that point on, so at some point the can has to stop being kicked down the road. But I'm just wondering, what that would entail for the general populace, including myself out here.
Well, I think he's going to do two things. I'm taking him at his word that he's going to probably try to cut the deep state off at its knees, right? So he's going to first start by easing it for the population, right? No income tax on overtime, no income tax on tips, going for the kill switch on income tax, period. He's going to raise tariffs up. So I think what he's going to do is deflationary in the short term, in terms of you're going to lower the employment of government, and then you're going to see employment increase in the private sector. So there's going to be a window there where it's going to be deflationary and recessionary, and I think that's what's going to take place in the first 2 years of his administration. I think he's going to go for it because the people that are going to probably lose their jobs in that situation aren't really Trump supporters anyway. And he's going to try to get the rest of the population excited about not having the government on their back, through regulatory change. Basically, they're going to wipe out regulatory capture. But there's always a gap between the effects of the rule and the benefits of the rule. And I think that's what's going to drive it. And it's smart to do it right away so that people, by the time they vote again in 2 years for their Congress people, is that they're going to start seeing the benefits of this action. And the big thing that he's going to do right away, he won't need anybody's help on. He's basically going to be drill, baby, drill. And he's just going to drive employment into that energy patch and drive down the cost of energy in terms of oil prices, gas prices, electric prices. And so a lot of stuff's going to wash back and forth across each other. But in that effect, it's going to be good. But in the short term, there's probably be some gaps in there that's going to cause the market some consternation.
Focusing on agriculture for a moment, I have been watching some automation videos where almost anything done now can be done by machinery, including picking such supple fruits as tomatoes, if you believe, okay, vegetable, split the hair on that. But any other kind of fruits and thing, they can just get up into the trees and pick things out automated wise. He's got to be contending with all this change and automation, but then there's all these companies that are riding on top of this wave of automation and artificial intelligence. So it does seem like two worlds are trying to blend together here, where we really need the labor market and physical hands coming back to work to give people jobs so we can get this economy set back up. But at the same time, just innovation itself is running away, where then you're reducing an enormous amount of jobs because, mechanized programmable machinery can do the same or better with no breaks, never complains, 7 days a week kind of work on these fields, orchards, vineyards, etc. So, I'm just trying to work this through my head also. There's got to be these opportunities, and nothing can rise at the exact same time. I see like they can do one policy change, but then mechanization and artificial intelligence is also going to push back against that in certain ways of getting people back to work. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that.
Well, it's going to have to happen. The automation is going to be meeting decline in population. We're not going to need any more unskilled labor, period. So obviously Trump's going to chase a lot of these people home. And the other thing, they'll probably try to drive more engineers here. So you think about it, is a lot of the farms, in the US have people that don't want to take it over because it's a lot of work. But if you're pairing up mechanization and automation and AI, it can make farming a little bit more pleasant, if you will, and that people, will have a chance to then really own a business that provides value. I was just watching a video yesterday about rice farmers in Japan, their plots are too small for normal mechanization, but the Japanese have created basically how we have a walking mower in the US. It's basically a walking reaper and sheather for the rice fields in Japan. It used to take 4 or 5 people to harvest the rice. One person can harvest the family's field. And so you're going to see more and more of those things, and the job's going to shift. My daughter, she has a friend, and she's a lady, first lady in the office that's doing maintenance work on the robots that they have it's the pick and pack for the grocery stores for their wholesale before it goes out to the retail stores. It's $36 an hour, Dave, for a 25-year-old person. So those jobs are going to show up, and the jobs that, are McDonald's and KFC, and we're seeing it all over Europe here. We probably 80% of our interactions doesn't involve a person. We pay, we receive the goods, or we pay, and somebody brings us the stuff. It's already going. I think we're a little bit behind in the US, and I think it's a good thing. Trump has to win, and then once he does win, then they're going to change the immigration system to high value importation of immigrants. I think personally, 25 and 26 are going to be financially tough years for everybody. But I think coming out of that, I think if people really embrace the change, I think we can really jump into a next golden era.
Yeah, I would agree with you, especially in Taiwan as well. America is so far behind, not only on the ordering. We went into McDonald's one time and everything was self-computer order. You had to pay, and there's 10 different ways to pay and tap on, and anything that you could possibly use for payment systems. And then a human being would bag it up and give it to you. That was the only interaction. And these places were real small. There was no sit-down locations, and they were just driving down costs 2 times cheaper than buying anything here in America. And I even did a video on how inexpensive food is because the automation has cut the labor costs where they can actually work in and massage that food price increase back down because they don't have to actually pay an enormous amount of employees. So that's sort of balance there. For some countries, food costs still going up, don't get me wrong, but not nearly the Himalayan upswings that we're seeing here in the Western nations. The payment systems alone, America's, I would say, well more than a decade behind on payment systems and integrated pay systems. If you're in a taxi, it's just so cheap to take taxis or get on the underground train. A bevy of ways to pay, and barely any usage of cash. And I know we could talk ad nauseum about, is that a good thing or a bad thing? But Americans listening out there, you got to realize we are really very far behind the rest of the world that has run away already with so many of these technologies. And to get us back to world innovation leaders, we are going to have to definitely make a very, very hard turn somewhere and bring that back in so we can innovate versus having it all offshored. I don't know. It's a hard statement to say that when we used to be world leaders of so much, but you mentioned bringing the engineers back. Well, what about, cryptocurrencies? There's so much regulation, and these Congress critters that are out there keep trying to push back against what is absolutely going to be the new world, at least arm or leg of the financial system moving forward. There's no way cryptocurrency in itself is not going to be a new part of our new world. So why would you have people pushing back against that and stopping innovation in our own nation? And then you talked about Bitcoin, you think Bitcoin's going higher. Well, everything rises when BTC rises too. So we're getting altcoin season after that too. So it looks like it's running away. Literally everything is running away from America. And we are stuck in some kind of quicksand pit back here, trying to work our way out, being gobbled up by great white sharks under us, pulling us back into the past.
Yeah, Dave, I think part of the reason is those countries have already been hit really hard with inflation and gap of standard of living. And now that it's coming here, necessity, right? Mother of invention. So I think you're going to see all that here. Look, commercial real estate is going to get crushed. The footprints are going to be cut in half or by 70%. You're not going to need that. Like I said, automation is going to take care of a lot of the human cost, and it's going to drive down the cost. And it's not going to be the public companies. It's not going to be the McDonald's of the world, because they have public revenue streams and profit to protect from the public markets. It's going to be the innovators that are private that are going to undercut those guys. So, and when we trade, we look for those new opportunities that are going to come in. I'll give you one right now that's public now, and it's already made some of its move, but it's just the beginning. Palantir is one of the first guys to be able to really, really embrace AI in an incredible fashion. They've been focused on the government and military for a long time, intelligence agencies. Now they're bringing their stuff to the private market. This thing is going gangbusters. It's going to be the next must-have stock, and we've been trading that. But it's just the beginning of plenty of other opportunities that are coming in. A lot of times with the farmers, they can't do certain things because they have all these restrictions on them. And you're going to see that with manufacturers. But the big thing's going to happen. He's going to force it to happen. You can't move your manufacturing out of the country because I'm going to tariff you. You have to bring your manufacturing in the country because I'm going to tariff you. We're going to drive talent back into the country because so many people got fat off of it, Dave, that is the end of that season. Now the new season's coming, transition period. I'll give you another wild example. I've been on the road now for, by the time I get home, it'll be 3 weeks gone. I basically went to a laundromat in Nashville, and I went to a laundromat just today in Strasbourg. You can picture a 180-degree difference in terms of how easy or how hard it is to even do laundry. You have to get coins over there and put coins in the machine. Here, it's a centralized wireless network system that you select the washer or dryer or the soap you need, and it dispenses everything remotely. Just amazing. And here we have wash machines that you have to carry around a bag of rocks with you to be able to do your wash when you're on the road. Amazing things. And all that stuff's going to come to the US because the only way you can make more profit now or higher margins is that you're going to have to do it with less rent and less people. And so the mother of invention is going to be inflation's forcing this because people aren't going to buy the product because they won't have enough money. So really exciting. And, in terms of trading, when we see these companies pop up and they hit our algorithm, we're jumping on it. We had a great trade, Dave, between the last time you talked and I talked. We had fantastic trades on MicroStrategy, on Misty, on Coinbase, on Coney. The whole YieldMax system is absolutely blowing up around these Bitcoin proxies where I'm going to send you some attaboys where life-changing money just in the last 6 weeks for people with these high yield products. I mean, people are able to retire before when they couldn't because the cash flows that they're able to generate through these products, especially when you catch it with the right stocks. And obviously that's what we help people do.
For more information on that, make sure you head over to tradewith2030.com, and that'll dip your toe into the water there. Bob, since I got you on here, what else are we thinking beyond in terms of commodities? Because I've been looking at a lot of silver news. Now, I know a lot of people might not believe in BRICS or say, hey, it's, hocus pocus and it's just a smokescreen. Okay, I get it. But they're saying now that besides gold backing on their currency, they are going to now include silver in their backing on the currency. So it'll be a bimetallic or a trimetallic system, because they were talking, I think, about platinum as well, to have a metals backing behind at least part of the currency and trade. That's just one example of commodities that I've been keeping an eye on outside the agriculture, obviously, which is my main focus. But what else do you see for just regular base commodities out there that of companies that you're looking at?
Silver, gold, and platinum, uranium, all good to go. And let me just address BRICS, then we go back to it. Those things are going to move without BRICS. BRICS is 2% of the global payment system. So a lot of that was just, trying to poke an eye at, the great Satan, if you will. So that is so far removed into the future. However, be that as it may, inflation's a problem worldwide. But gold, silver, in fact, we're in SPPP right now. It's a great trade that we have on right now for our clients. We've been in the gold and silver miners now pretty aggressively over the last couple of months, and we don't see that changing anytime soon. At some point when we come out of the recession, because Trump's not pro-E vehicle, so it's going to probably cause a little bit of issue on copper short term, but eventually you're going to see, the nickel, copper, that complex is going to take off too, because manufacturers are going to have to reestablish themselves in the U.S., and they're going to suck up a lot of steel and copper. So, but I think that's a 1 year event out. Right now, silver, gold, platinum, palladium and uranium. Those are the trades you want to be in. Don't worry about the bricks. They have their own bull curve going right now, and that's what you want to own. Look, big money is moving out of the financialized assets and they're moving into the hard assets. That's happening regardless, and you got to be in it. And Dave, you and I have been talking 10 or 12 years together. It's finally this last year, it's finally happening in a big way. Bitcoin, no problem. I'm not a big altcoin fan, but Bitcoin is the beast. You don't need the altcoins. You have to do a whole lot of work to try to catch those altcoins, where Bitcoin's in beast mode right now. And if you want leverage to Bitcoin, buy the Bitcoin proxies, buy MicroStrategy, buy Coinbase, buy Square, buy Wolf, buy CleanSpark. You'll get enough leverage without having to deal with or screwing around with the altcoins that are inflationary, where Bitcoin's deflationary or disinflationary, I should say at this point. We have those trades on all the time, guys, all the time. And they make a lot of money, and you can trade in and out of them, use our algorithm. We'll teach you how to use it, and we give the trades out every day, and you'll be really, really happy that you trade with us.
Excellent words. Remember, trade with 2030.com or tradelikeagenius.com. And if you go over there, please mention David sent you, Adapt 2030 sent you, so Bob can credit me over here for getting you some very solid value so you can increase the amount of money in your pocket moving through these changes, because this is the biggest headwater and headway for us, is like, how do we embrace this change through 2025 and 2026? All right, I understand there's some tumultuous times coming. Well, it's like whitewater rafting. You see, your rocks coming, you're in class 5 rapid. Okay, well, what happens if the boat flips? Then what? Okay, you're kind of prepared. You've been swimming, you've been exercising, you can hold your breath with things. But beyond that, how do you cling on to something that can give you safety?
You can't be afraid of this. There's going to be so many job opportunities, but they may not be where you live. You have to embrace change that way too. If you live in California, there might be some high-tech manufacturing here, but most of it's going to go into the red states. People are going to have to be prepared to move. Where you live in Tennessee, I've talked to a lot of people in the Nashville area. They're still building out there. They're still sold out on office space. So it all depends on where you're going to go. There's going to be tremendous opportunity. Look, you talk about automation. The ports have us 50 years in the history. Florida, is going to lead the way in automation of port activity. So all this stuff is starting to break down, and it's going to be tremendous opportunity, but it's going to be chaotic. And you're going to have to know what you want, and you're going to have to go for it. And you're going to have to be adaptable, if I can steal from you. And I think coming into 27 to 30, I think it's going to be tremendous opportunity. And you guys know, with the climate changing the way it is in the direction that we've been talking about, is that there's going to be enough chaos in that environment too, that you're just going to have to be flexible. But I think technology is absolutely amazing right now. And I think we're going to see things that are going to blow us away. We were on an airplane when we were flying out of Nashville, Dave, on our way to Zurich. The guy sitting next to us is American, but he's working out of Zurich, and he's working on AI with protein molecules. Okay, where they're doing simulations to see how they fold and how they can be used in other products. And I said, so what industry are you looking to supplant? He said, all of them. All of them. He said the environment around proteins and being able to understand how they work is going to change life sciences, is going to change biomedicine, it's going to change everything. And people are headlong into these right now, because you have to use artificial intelligence to help you understand some of the things that you just can't do one-offs anymore. The parallel thinking is going to be on steroids.
That's an exciting future. Again, you can look at it in 2 different ways. The biggest opportunity in human history is at our doorstep when we've taken the first step over the mat, or you can sit there cowering in fear, grinding on your fingernails, afraid to enter the door. I mean, it's truly your choice, and it always has been, but this is even more timely than ever right now.
Yeah, from my point of view is, the nicest way to see these things is, through stuff that we do, because we watch the markets, we see every company that's coming around. And, and what we're doing here with Dave, Dave has his eyeballs out too. And, between the both of us, use our service, low cost. You couldn't find a better deal. People tell us we were way undervalued in terms of what we charge. We're not going to change that. we're doing just fine. And we want you guys to come join us. The value that we'll give you is the ROI is definitely in your favor. So I encourage you to check us out. Even if you just checked out the Yield Max products that we can help people with, you're talking people making 20, 30 to 100% yields per year on these products. They're publicly traded products. You just have to know which ones to get in because it's based on how the price of the underlying shares do. And we kind of follow that pretty closely.
All right. Again, and tradewith2030.com. Great to be talking to somebody else around the world. So this technology never would have been invented that allows us to even have this conversation. You put that in context. There was a company that did this, that developed these products that allowed Bob and myself to talk 5 time zones away across an ocean in real time. Before that was unthinkable. And if you had have looked at those companies that were doing that integrated research and invention, then that was a winner. So, just trace this clock back, and we're at this point right now, just looking from the forward where we stand right now. So, Bob, I really appreciate you joining me today. Any last words?
I'm ready to embrace the change, even if it's short-term financially more difficult for me. I think coming out of the tunnel is going to be better for all of us.
Excellent words. All right. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for your valuable time. I'll leave all the links in the description box below the video so you can click and go with tradewith2030.com. Let's make the world a better place with our vibrations high because we're succeeding. See you next time. Bye for now.